Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on March the 18th, 2020. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. All right, as usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. So in terms of what's going on in the markets, currently, pretty much every country is dealing with the coronavirus right now. So we saw Italy has completely shut down. Spain is doing the same. And the cases around the world are increasing, even in the US, Canada, UK, pretty much everywhere, Australia as well. So as a result of that, there has been a lot of support from the central banks, as well as fiscal policy support in terms of helping people get through this and managing the markets as well. So with all of that going on, the numbers that are coming up have not been that great, either because, as we have seen, all the countries are pretty much shutting down now. It's not business as usual. A lot of people are quarantined, and governments are asking people to stay in their houses because of the quick spread of this virus. So coming up here on today, actually, in the Asian session, we do have Japanese trade balance numbers here. So if these numbers come in below expectations, that will be negative for Japanese yen. We also have retail sales numbers here. Those are expected to drop for Australia as well. And the numbers from the US here were really bad. As we can see here, we were expecting positive numbers, but there was quite a drop, which has caused concerns in regards to the economic growth of the country. And as we saw in Germany here as well, the numbers were negative, and we saw in UK numbers were below expectations as well. So overall, pretty much everywhere that we look, things are not really looking too bright at this point. In terms of the data that we have coming up, we have CPI numbers here from the Eurozone. So right now, with all the stuff that the central bank is doing, again, these numbers don't really mean as much, but they still tell us what's going on in the economy overall here. So CPI numbers or inflation numbers are one of the numbers that the central banks track. So with this one here, euro has been taking a hit. We did see it go up initially when this whole thing started, but now because everybody is looking for US dollars, we have seen pretty much everything drop against the US dollar. So euro is already kind of pointing to the downside here. If the numbers come in worse than expected, we are likely to see a further drop here. But I think we are going to have lasting changes from this, or not lasting change. So we're going to have lasting impact from the coronavirus. So even if we are able to get through it in the next 2-3 months here, we're likely to see more of an economic impact, and we're likely to see a lot of jobs lost and a lot of stuff like that, which means our economy will not be doing as well. So these numbers, we are going to, I think the numbers that will be coming up are likely to be below expectations. Same thing here for Canada as well. Canadian dollar has just been getting trashed because of, one, oil, and secondly, the demand for US dollar. It's pushing dollar CAD up. And Canadian dollar is really taking a beating here. So if these numbers, again, they're below expectations, that is another reason, that will be another reason for Canadian dollar to weaken. And then we have GDP numbers coming up here for New Zealand, and employment numbers here for Australia. And chances are they will be lower than expected here, and we could see a drop in Australian dollar. So Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, all these commodity currencies have been hit hard because of the current market situation here. Now, we have been hearing a lot from different central bankers around the world and different political leaders from around the world in terms of supporting the markets. So if we see that the markets start to go back up. I'm not expecting a huge move to the upside, but we could see markets go back up, and because of a lot of this money that is being injected into the market. Also, because of all these central banks buying securities in the markets, we could get a lot of volatile moves that continue on. So this volatility may stay in the market for a bit still. So let's go on to the charts now. We'll start off with euro dollar here. So yesterday we were looking for a drop in the euro. We got that. It went through our second target here. And now bias is still to the downside. Looks like we could have another drop here. So we could get a pullback into 1.1050 and then a further drop to the downside here. This looks like a good level for a back test here. So bias is to the downside. First target would be, actually it would be, let's move this down a bit, it would be 1.0950, and then below that we're looking at 1.0880. So bearish bias here for euro dollar. Pound dollar still continuing on right into our target here. So bias is still bearish here. Now it's into important support. So we just need to be careful here, especially with this huge move to the downside. We could see price go back up and retrace. So that's something to be mindful of. But overall bias is still to the downside here. And let's see what our next targets are. So we haven't seen this price since 2019 here. But then we are into this whole Brexit lows that we had. So now next target is 1.20, and then below that there's a lot of room to the downside. So let's go back here. So bias is bearish. 1.20 will be the, actually 1.1950 will be the next target, and then 1.1880 below that. So bias is bearish here for pound dollar. Australian dollar, this one's still looking bearish here. We have seen price drop through the support here, and next target here is 0.5920 and then 0.5820. So bias is bearish for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar, same thing. It finally went through that support level. Looks bearish still in terms of the pullback. We could get a pullback into 0.600 and then a further drop from there. So bias is bearish. Target is 0.5800. Dollar CAD here. It's been a one-way street up for dollar CAD. And in terms of targets, it went right through our second target as well. And this is where we are. Next target is okay, so the next target here is 1.4280 and then 1.4320 and 50. So bias here is bullish for dollar CAD. Silver here, we did see a drop here, but today's candle close is actually neutral. After all of this drop, we could see price turn around, but overall, investors are selling everything because of this whole big drop in the markets. Basically, investors need to come up with money in order to protect their positions, and as a result, everything is on board. Generally, when we have markets dropping or stock markets dropping, our safe haven assets tend to do well, silver and gold. Not so much right now, because right now everything is basically getting thrown into the carnage so that people have enough money to actually manage the positions that they have. So this one here is looking neutral. What I'm looking for here is a potential retest of the high here. If price holds below this level, then we could see price come back down, but this one may become sideways here. So I'm looking for price to essentially trade between 13.17 and 11.55 here. So neutral bias here for silver. Gold here, gold actually went up today. We see that price tried going lower and then it has gone back up, but it is into the support resistance level. So if it holds below 1548, we could see it come back down, and again this could just be sideways. It could just go sideways here. So for now I would be cautious with this one, still looking a little neutral and not looking massively bullish here. But what may happen is price could come into 1520 and then bounce off of that. So that's something I would watch out for, because this is an important support resistance level here. And should it go through that, we could see a bounce into 1500 level. So that's another place to watch out for this bounce to the upside. But for now, it is looking neutral, and we may see price just go sideways between 1548 and 1466 level. So neutral here. Oil, another bad day for oil. We did see a drop here, and price actually closed below the previous low. So this one is looking bearish still. And in terms of our targets, we are looking quite, this one is looking bad. So essentially the next target here that I would look at would be 26. It's right now it's at 27.50, so 26 will be the next one, and then below that I would look at about 25 will be the next target here, even 24.50. So bias here is bearish for oil. Copper, a big drop in copper here, and this is why we're seeing Australian dollar take a dive here as well. So bearish bias here. It went right through our target level. Now next one, next target here would be 2.26, and then we are looking at 2.24. So bias here is bearish so bearish bias here for our copper. Now we could get a pullback into 2.30, so I will watch out for that, and then looking for a further move to the downside. 2.24 is the first target, and then 2.00 will be the second target here. So bearish bias here for copper. Bitcoin here, Bitcoin looks like this one is going sideways here as well after that big drop here. Price is, we did have a bullish close today, but it doesn't look terribly bullish at this point. Now I would look for potential retest of this level 48.65, and then if it holds above this one, we could see a further move to the upside. But for now I'm neutral on this. I think we may just see a back and forth move over here before it starts to go up. So for now, neutral bias for Bitcoin. Equity markets here, this one we did see a bit of a bounce in S&P 500, but it is looking bearish still. So overall still holding the lows here. And in terms of our targets here, the first target would be basically the low of the day, 23.65 here, and then looking at 23.30, 22.80. So 22.80 will be the next major level that I would look at for S&P 500. So bias is bearish here. Nasdaq, same thing here. It did go into this resistance, bounced up, but still looking bearish here. And as long as it holds below 7,500, I would look for a further move to the downside here. So bearish bias for Nasdaq. Next target is 69.43 here, and then below that we could see price go into 6,800. So bias is bearish for Nasdaq. And Dow Jones here, same thing. We did see a pullback, but it's still holding the lows here. And as long as it holds below this 20,940 level, I will look for a further drop. 19,650 and then 19,250 are the next two levels to watch out for. Now, having said that though, because the markets have kind of been going sideways here, if price comes into this low and does not break it, then I would look for a further move to the upside, because twice in a row here, price has not broken the lows, which means if it gets tested third time and it doesn't break it, chances are very high that it would go back up. So that's something to watch out for. So right now, bias is bullish. Bias is still bearish, but watch out for the support level here. And then we have DAX has been dropping. It did go back up here, neutral bias again, but overall still looking bearish. And basically, I would look for a move between 91.80 and then 82.40 here. But should it go through that resistance, then we have a fair bit of room to the upside. For now, I am neutral on DAX here as well. FTSE here, FTSE, another neutral day here. And we have seen price push up here higher. So across the board, across all the stock markets here, all the indices, we are seeing them pull back up. And this is the result of all the different central banks buying securities in the market and trying to support the market. So with this going on, we could see things turn around. For now, though, I'm looking for a move in this range. So if it holds below 53.65-ish level, then I will look for a move lower. But once it goes through, then the next target would be 56.20 and even 5700. So right now bias is neutral, and we just need to see which direction it wants to break in. And Nikkei here, Nikkei's been holding its own as well. So we do see that price moved up today, but it doesn't look super bullish at this point. So neutral bias here, we may see price just go sideways here, and which is not a bad thing, because if price starts to go sideways here, at some point it is going to go higher. So for now though, neutral bias here for Nikkei. I'm looking for a move between 17,920 and potentially 16,550 here. So this one is looking neutral as well. So that's it for today. Have a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.